You wonder when you put your feet down, is it going to come up and meet you kind of thing?
I'm assuming it's time to start. Is that true? I'm assuming it's time to start since the words are up and everything. Yeah. Okay.
Ready to go.
Okay. Well, I think we can, because the words are up and everything. So. Yeah. Welcome to Unity of Modesto. We're delighted that you're here with us this morning, and we're going to begin our morning with songs. So would you please stand? The words are up on the overhead for you. This is the day that the Lord hath made. This is the day that the Lord hath made.
That the Lord hath made.
We shall rejoice.
We will rejoice.
And be glad in it.
And be glad in it. This is the day that the Lord hath made. We will rejoice and be glad in it.
This is the day.
This is the day that the Lord hath made. Okay, stop. Let's stop. I need to hear people sing. So what we're going to do is we're going to divide you up. Margaret's going to have her team, and I'm going to have my team. And I'm going to take this side because there's more people. And we're going to see who can out-sing who, all right? So you do the lead, and we'll do the come on in, all right? Oh, look, you're getting all these reinforcements.
Oh, Yahoo.
Yeah. Here we go.
This is the day.
This is the day
that the Lord hath made.
That the Lord hath made.
We will rejoice.
We will rejoice.
And be glad in it.
And be glad in it. This is the day that the Lord hath made. We will rejoice and be glad in it.
This is the day.
This is the day. I don't hear you guys.
The Lord hath.
Sing out, Louise.
This is the day.
This is the day
that the Lord hath made.
That the Lord hath made.
We will rejoice.
We will rejoice.
And be glad in it.
And be glad in it. This is the day that the Lord hath made. We will rejoice and be glad in it.
This is the day.
This is the day that the Lord hath made. Good job. Not that I have control issues.
Nothing like that. Hey, our next song is It Be. I know.
What?
It just does. Advance, please.
You're advanced.
Can it be? Can it be? Can it be God's love in me? All this joy and energy is mine to share today. Can you see? Can you see? I was made God's love to be. In everything I say and do, I'll be God's love for you. Can it be? Can it be? Can it be God's love so free? All you feel within your heart is yours to share today. Can you see? Can you see? You were made God's love to be. With everything you say and do, we'll see God's love in you. Can it be? Can it be? Can it be God's love you see? All this joy and energy is ours to share today. Can you see? Can you see? We were made God's love to be. In everything we say and do, we are God's love for you. And next, we're going to be big for God. I'm gonna be big. I'm gonna be big for God. I'm gonna speak out. I'm gonna speak out for love. I'm gonna shine bright until the whole world sees the light. I'm gonna shine bright. I'm gonna speak out. I'm gonna be big for God. I'm gonna live loud, a life with no regrets. I'm gonna go now, 'cause now is all we get. I'm gonna break free to live in perfect harmony. I'm gonna break free, I'm gonna go now. I'm gonna live loud for God. I'm gonna say yes to my good right now. I'm gonna let go of all my fear and doubt. I'm gonna go forth and bring a change about. I'm gonna go forth, I'm gonna let go. I'm gonna say yes to God. I'm gonna break free, I'm gonna go now. I'm gonna live loud for God. I'm gonna shine bright, I'm gonna speak out. I'm gonna be big for God. Yay! And now I believe it's announcement time. And here she comes. Maybe she can help. Here she comes.
Good morning, everyone. Is this not the most perfect day? Yes. Yesterday was perfect also. Welcome. Good to see you. Don't forget, after church today, we have a potluck. That's a picnic in the park, but it's really in the fellowship hall. Robert and Swami and Joni are our hosts. Hot dogs. We're going to barbecue. Please come and join us after. It's going to be a lot of fun. Our prayer pilgrims, our trained prayer chaplains. Would you please stand? There we go. Oh, Gary, you don't have yours on today. That's why I didn't recognize you. Margaret, Richard, Gary, Ben. And again, thank you for the phone calls. They are available after service or, throughout the week to offer individual spiritual support and prayer. They do call members of the church and leave wonderful messages or talk to you if you need that one-on-one. So I thank you. If you can't make it on a Sunday or need prayer, that's what they're here for. So they're here to support you in any way that we can on a spiritual level. And personally, I really appreciate it. It just makes my day to get that message. Love in Action, we're doing great. I think we only have one left for this year, and that's the August-September. So if you want to do something really cool and funky, bingo barbecue or something different, let's get creative. Don't be buddy up with someone, and the sign-in sheet is in the back. And that's part of our Love in Action. Book lovers, we're still looking for a volunteer who will take over the bookstore manager position. And also anyone who wants to help on Sundays to work the bookstore. So, please see Lynn Roberts. Lynn, there she is. She's wonderful. She trained me. I failed at bookstore, but I love books. And I may try again if you'll give me another chance. Honestly, even if she's not there, there's instructions. All you have to do is know how to read and know how to turn on a computer, which is where I had trouble, but yeah, it's a whole nother story. Anyway, it's really easy and fun, and it's the manager position takes, 5-10 hours a month maybe. And, of course, if you're volunteering in the bookstore, it's just one Sunday a month. Course in Miracles in the Unitine room every Sunday at 11:30. So you have time to go get some coffee, cake, whatever, and then join the group led by Laura. And they have a great time, great communication, a lot of sharing, and a lot of spiritual love. Gift cards today. Jackie, there she is. Gift. And I bought a $100 Walmart gift card last week, and I spent $153 yesterday. So I am taking $53 back because I am just so guilty about that. So make sure you have plenty. I want more Walmarts today, definitely. I don't know what it is about. The Manteca Walmart's really quite lovely. So it's just one more way to help the revenue stream with the church, and it's a great way. Great. Thank you. Okay, I'll see you right after church, I promise. And don't forget, there is a calendar on the table in the back that tells all of our events. And have a lovely day, everyone. Good to see you. Yeah, the Easter potluck.
Salad or dessert, so sign on the line so we kind of have an idea of what you're bringing, and it's going to be the week before Easter.
Thank you.
So is Leah going to talk? Yes.
Leah is going to talk to us.
I thought she was.
Here she comes.
This is our board president, for those of you who do not know.
Whistling. Okay.
Yeah.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Leah. I'm the board president, for those of you who don't know. Today, I'd like to speak with you just briefly about some upcoming changes in our congregation. As you all know, Paul is retiring at the end of May. I know, Diane. Don't start crying yet. Okay. Give it a half an hour. And we are very sorry to see that happen, but we are excited for him as he starts his new phase in life. In your bulletin today, you're going to see an outline of the steps we're going to be following in our search for a new spiritual leader. And it's important that we keep you involved in this because you all are going to be voting on the next spiritual leader. So the first step is last Sunday, couldn't remember, at the board meeting, we pulled together a recruiting committee. And those who are here and on the committee, I'd like to introduce you to them. Gary is one, if you'll stand. Richard is another. And let's see, Joyce, myself, Carol, and the only one who is not here today is Nancy McNatt.
You know what? Let's have that committee move up front because I want everybody to recognize the face of those of you who are on this committee. So this is the face of your committee, or the faces.
Come on up, folks.
There you go. Let's just be sure everybody knows who's who.
Don't say that. Okay. So the reason it's important for you to know who these people are is because next week and in the ensuing weeks, you can approach any of us and talk to us about your questions, your concerns, who you'd like to see in this position, what you're thinking in terms of the church in the future. Would you like a younger guy who doesn't bring dogs to church and brings children? I'm just teasing, Paul. Do you want to make sure that we still have a church dog? I mean, we want to hear all of that. Well, I volunteered to take her, but Paul wouldn't give her up. So the reality is next Sunday after service, we're going to have a brief congregational meeting, and I urge all of you to attend. It shouldn't take more than 15 or 20 minutes. We're going to pass out a questionnaire and have you fill it out and give us your thoughts about who you're looking for. All right. Then it's the committee's job to not only take all of your questionnaires or your answers, but as we fill out the package for Unity Worldwide and we start receiving applicants, the committee needs to cull through them. Eventually, the committee will give a suggestion of 2 or 3 to the board, and we will review those and have them come and do test Sunday services, do interviews, etc. We narrow it down as closely as we can because we have to pay for everyone to come out. You know, that includes flight or their time here, hotel. And as you know, we are an extremely wealthy church, and we like to hang on to every penny we have. So, there I am. The other people that I would like you to recognize are your board members, because you can approach them as well. Obviously me, obviously Carol, obviously Joyce, Diane, Brian. Where did Brian go? He disappeared.
I think he's doing hot dogs.
Oh, he's doing hot dogs. Oh, that's important. We got to have dogs.
Yeah.
And Barbara, just walking in, is another board member. Okay? The only person you probably really, and you correct me on this if I'm wrong, Paul, you don't want to approach is Paul, because
it won't do you any good. I have nothing to do with it.
He doesn't get any say in this. So, having said that, any questions from the congregation?
Let me correct one thing real quickly. It's semantical, but the truth is next week's meeting is not a formal congregational meeting.
Correct.
It's a gathering together of people who would like to put some input into a decision around who the next leader should be. I point that out because our bylaws are very specific that we have to have a certain number of days notice for a formal congregational meeting. This is a discussion, so it's not a meeting, and I won't be there, so you can talk about me all you want.
We will. Okay. Oh, there's Brian, and he's another board member. Okay.
Oh.
What were you saying, Joyce?
I just said I don't have to take minutes.
Yeah, that's true. All right, any other questions? All right, I'll turn it back over to Margaret. Thank you all for being on this committee and doing this important job. Okay.
At this time, we're going to sing the Lord's Prayer together. So would you please stand? If you are a hand holder, you can join up with your neighbors. And if you're not, you can respectfully decline. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debt as we forgive
forgive our debtors, and leave us not in temptation, but deliver us from error. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever. Amen.
Good morning. Good morning. How are we? Great. Spectacular. Terrific. Laura, how are you? Good. Give me some more. Give me some more. What? That's not a, no, she said, I'm not awake yet. Give me a, how are you?
I said, great, you used mine already.
Oh,
How are you? Not to argue, I'm wonderful.
I'm wonderful. I'm very, very, very good. I'm very good. Very good. So I do want to remind you that we are live streaming, and it's kind of interesting because we know each Sunday how many people tuned in to service, and that number's going up. So we're happy about that. And just to remind you that the camera's in the back, and it doesn't generally get people who are seated in the back. So I point that out because, sadly, there are people who are in a situation where they got away from domestic violence, and for whatever reason, it would not be good for them to be on camera. So I just like to keep every once in a while and let you know about that. So let's take a look at today's daily word. It says this. No, wait a minute. I'm going to do the affirmation first. Look at March's affirmation. It's in your bulletin. It says, all experiences in my life nurture and support me, which we believe is true at Unity. We think most of you know that to be true. So let's say that together. Together. All experiences in my life nurture and support me. There you go. Now, today's daily word says this. In the comfort of God's presence, I find true rest and peace. My greatest source of comfort comes in recognizing God's omnipotent presence. Right where I am and where I go, God, the source of all power, knowledge, and good, is with me. There is no place I can go where God is not. There is no experience I will ever face alone. It may be true that I am not always aware of this presence. Any feelings of separation dissipate when I turn within and affirm, in God I live and move and have my being. I repeat these words until truth washes over me. I'm filled with a feeling of warmth, and any mental discomfort fades. In the comfort of God's presence, I find true rest and peace. And from the books of Acts, chapter 17, verse 28, we read, in him we live and move and have our being, as even some of your own poets have said, for we too are his offspring. And so it is. And now let's get ready for meditation.
I am beautiful, I am powerful, I've let go of my past and celebrate who I've become. I am beautiful, I am powerful, and I celebrate who I am. I am beautiful, I am powerful, I've let go of my past and celebrate who I've become. I am beautiful, I am powerful, and I celebrate who I am. I am beautiful, I am powerful, I let go of my past and celebrate who I've become. I am beautiful, I am powerful, beautiful, and I celebrate who I am. And I celebrate who I am.
It's a time in our service that we set aside, that we turn within. So I invite you to do that. And I invite you to sit in your chair and relax. Allow your chair to fully support your body weight, and close your eyes and set aside anything that you might be holding so that you can relax. Put both feet firmly on the ground and taking a deep breath, holding it for a moment, and then release. Breathe in, hold it, and then release. And as you breathe in, know that you breathe in God. And as you release love. Breathe in God and release love. And relax. And then breathe in love and release God. For God and love and you are all one. There is no separation. The Christ presence in you is that godly presence. So just relax. For just a moment, I want to ask you to focus on how powerful you are, how wonderful you are, how special you are. Scripture tells us we're made in the image and the likeness of God. And God is in our DNA. And because of that, we are absolutely powerful and beautiful. This idea of oneness with Spirit is not some far-fetched thought. It is fact. And as each of us know, when we take time to turn within and listen for Spirit, we get amazing direction. When we begin to focus on our godly mission, our direction, amazing, amazing things happen. When we live in an awareness of who we really are all the time, appearances don't distract us. We move forward with confidence because we know who we are. So for just this moment in time, I urge you to just sit there and affirm in your mind, I am made in the image and the likeness of God. I'm powerful. I'm wonderful. Just allow yourself to feel that. To so internalize that truth that it becomes part of every cell of your being. You're not separate. You are. You are the divine presence of God. You are love. Let us pray. Mother, Father, God, divine source, help us to remain mindful of our truth, that we are God expressed, and that we are powerful, and that we are wonderful. Help us, in spite of appearances, to remain aware that we are beloved children of divine source. And so it is. Amen. I didn't ask if anybody was here for the very first time. Do we have any first-time visitors? If so, we have a little packet we want to give you. No? So then my next question is, why is that we don't have somebody here for the very first time? But I don't want to put a burden on any of you about, why don't you ask your friends to come with you next Sunday? So this month, all month, we've been exploring this idea about how do we move from the gap that exists sometimes between understanding and getting that God-inspired direction for our lives and what we should be doing, and how do we get from there into the fruition of it, where it becomes a reality in our life and becomes who we are and what we're doing. There's this gap that occurs between the God-inspired idea and the reality of that idea becoming manifest in our lives. And how do we get from here to here? And 2 Sundays ago, we talked about building a bridge over that gap. And each week we've looked at it, and it's been, this whole month is based on the book that it's called The Alchemist, a fable about following your dream. It's a book that was written in the late 80s, and so you may not have ever seen it, and I'm not sure it's even in print. But it's written by the Brazilian author Paulo Coelho. It's about a shepherd boy who has a really, really big dream, who has an ambition, has something that he decides to pursue. And he doesn't decide to pursue it with great enthusiasm. He's a bit reluctant about it because he's not sure that it's achievable. And he has to bridge this gap between this idea that's been implanted in his brain and the fruition or the reality of the idea becoming or made manifest in his life. And I ended last Sunday's talk with a sentence that he asks in the book, and his sentence is, "What should I do now?" And I promised that today we'd get to the answer and we'd talk about what should I do next, or how do I go there. And I want to back up a little bit because some of you weren't here for the last couple of Sundays, so I want to share it up. I want to tighten it up a little bit. I'm not going to read all the words I did last week. But if you weren't here, I want you to get the gist of where we are and what we've been talking about and what our goals are for this week. And this will help you, if you were here, to be reminded where we are in the book is a conversation that takes place between the alchemist and the boy. And he's been looking throughout the book, and he thinks that the alchemist will have some answers that he needs if he's going to pursue this goal he has. He thinks that the alchemist will have the answers to how to reach and achieve his dream. And he's trying to decide at this point in the story, should I even go after it? And it seems pretty impossible at this point that dream will ever be achieved. And it's looking like it's gotten very, very, very difficult. And he says to the alchemist, "My heart is afraid that it will have to suffer," the boy told the alchemist one night as they looked up at the moonless sky. "Tell your heart that no heart has ever suffered when it goes in search of its dreams, because every second of the search is a second's encounter with God and with eternity." Every second of the search is an encounter with God, the boy told his heart. That night, the boy slept deeply, and when he awoke, his heart began to tell him things that came from the soul of the world. It said to him that everyone on earth has a treasure that awaits him. We, people's hearts, seldom say how much about those treasures because people no longer want to go in search of them. Unfortunately, very few follow the path laid out for them, the path for their own personal legend. So we, their hearts, speak more and more softly. We never stop speaking out, but we begin to hope that our words won't be heard. We don't want people to suffer because they don't follow their hearts. From then on, the boy understood his heart. He asked it to please never stop speaking to him. That night, he told the alchemist, and the alchemist understood that the boy's heart had returned to the soul of the world. "But what should I do now?" the boy asked. And that's where we stopped last week. What comes next supports our topic for today. "What should I do next?" said the boy. And the answer was to continue in the direction of the pyramid, which interpreted means your God-inspired aspirations, your divinely directed dreams. said the alchemist, and continue to pay heed to the omens, which we interpret to mean listen to your intuitions. Your heart is still capable of showing you where the treasure is. Is that the one thing I need to know? The boy said. No, the alchemist answered, what you still need to know is that you need to know this, that in truth, before a dream is realized, the soul of the world tests everything that was learned along the way. It does not do this because it's evil, but so that we can, in addition to realizing our dreams, master the lessons that we've learned as we've moved toward that dream. And that's the point at which most people give up. It's the point at which we say in the language of the desert, one dies of thirst just when the palm trees have appeared on the horizon. Every search begins with beginner's luck, and every search ends with the victor being severely tested. And with this knowledge, the boy continued on his journey, and he was tested, severely tested. But he met those tests and not only found his pleasure, but so much more. He found who he is. My view on this idea of tests and lessons is maybe different from yours, because I don't think life really gives us tests. I think what happens in our life is an opportunity for us to grow, and we have these experiences so that we become more and more that which we were put here to be. And when we begin to find the God or find the good in all of our experiences, our spiritual life blossoms. And I think that that's important, that we know that every step on our path towards our goals is an opportunity for us to appreciate the infinite good of God that inspires our movement. And that infinite truth is as close as our breath. And that infinite truth is available to us in our hands and our feet and in our mind, and we can move towards it. It's not achieving the goals that matter, although it's nice and it's fun and it's awesome when you finally have achieved something that you set out to do. But it's really about what we discover about ourselves as we move towards that goal. The strength and the skills and the connection we get with the divine as we go through our challenges because of the journey. Those are the encounters with God and the God of our being. Remember, the book said, every moment is a moment with God. So we're going to look at that. We're going to take a look, and we're going to use the words. And let me tell you something about some people I've heard about who, in fact, had some dreams. There were 4 young men in Liverpool who in the 60s wanted their dream enough that they kept going, even after they were told by recording company executives, we don't like your sound. And the truth is, guitar groups are on the way out. Do you know who that might have been? The question on the table is this: how much do you want it? When you've set a goal, when you've set something that you want to accomplish, the real bottom line is, how badly do you want it? There was a young red-haired comedian who wanted to make people laugh so much that she kept going even after her head drama instructor had said to her, and I quote, "Try another profession, dear, any other profession." Do you know who that was? Lucille Ball, yes. And there was a young woman who was the 20th of 22 children who was born prematurely, and her survival at birth was very doubtful. And then, when she was 4 years old, she contracted double pneumonia and scarlet fever. And as a result of that, she was left with a paralyzed leg. And she was only able to walk because she wore a metal brace, so she had a pronounced limp. But at the age of 9, she removed that metal leg brace that she had been depending on it, and she began to walk without it. As she was 13 years old, she decided to become a runner. So she entered a race, and she came in last. And she entered the next race, and she came in last. And for 3 years, she entered races, and she always came in last. And everyone said, quit. You can't be a runner. You were born with a defect. Your body is defective. Quit. But she didn't. And then one day she actually won a race. And from that day on, she won every race that she competed in, even after being told she wouldn't walk again. She went on, and eventually she won not 1 and not 2 and finally 3 Olympic gold medals. You know who that is? Well, Wilma Rudolph. In the 1956 and 1960 Olympics, she won a combined total of 3 Olympics for running. And there was an inventor in American history who had this dream that he wanted to do something, and he believed in it so much he thought it would change the way Americans could live their lives. So he had this idea that he wanted to invent this thing. And over 2,000 experiments that failed, he kept pursuing it, and he finally achieved that dream, and that was Thomas Edison and his light bulb. And then the man who I find is a kind of a personal hero is somebody who at the age of 23 ran for state legislator and lost. At age 29, he wanted to become the speaker at the state legislature, and he lost. And at age 31, he sought to become an elector, and he lost. And at 34, he ran for Congress, and he lost. And at 37, he ran for Congress again, but this time he won, and he went to Washington, and he did a good job. But when he ran for re-election to that post at age 39, he lost. And at 45, he ran for Senate of the United States, and he lost. At 47, he sought the vice presidential nomination at his party's national convention, and he lost. At age 48, he ran for the U.S. Senate for the second time, and he lost. Finally, at the age of 50, he ran for the presidency of the United States, and he became the 16th president of this country, and of course that was Abraham Lincoln, yes. So the question on the table this morning is, how much do you want what you say you want? What are you willing to go after or go through or experience? How badly do you really want what you say you want? If you really want it, you'll keep walking, you'll keep running, you'll keep entering those races even when you're defeated, whether it be a physical road running race or some kind of congressional candidate race. If you really want it, you'll put one foot in front of the other and you'll keep moving towards that goal. There's an example I shared not long ago, and I couldn't resist using it again, so forgive me for those of you who heard this. There was a farmer who owned a mule. When the mule had aged and the farmer decided he had reached the prime of his life, and the poor mule fell into an empty well. And the farmer decided it would be best if he just put it out of his misery, so he called together all of his neighbors and asked them to shovel dirt into that well so that the animal would be put out of its misery. And they began to shovel. And the mule at the bottom of the well began to moan and groan and cry out in fear. And after carefully assessing the situation he was in, he reevaluated and decided there was hope. And each time a shovel full of dirt hit him, it hurt, but he took a step up. And shovelful after shovelful, he took a step up. And each time he was hurt with the clods of dirt that fell on his back, he shook it off and he stepped off. Every single time he shook it off and he stepped up. And eventually, he was able to step over the wall of that well and continue. But what he had to do is he had to believe in himself enough to shake it off and step up. And each of the examples we've talked about this morning is a person who believed in himself enough to shake it off and step up. And it was important to them to achieve what their goal was, whether it was to win a gold medal in an Olympic race, or whether it was to serve their country as a politician, or whether it was to invent a light bulb that would change the course of human history. They had to believe in themselves. They have to shake it off and step up. What appeared to be, to the mule, to be an adversity, in fact became an advantage to him. What appears to us to be adversity often is in truth an advantage, because we grow so much, and we learn so much, and we move forward much more confidently. So the question on the table this morning is, how much do you really want it? Because if you're not really totally dedicated to it, you probably won't achieve it. You have to want it. You have to be able to taste it. You have to live with it. And remember this powerful line from the book we've quoted all month. Every second of the search is a second's encounter with God and with eternity. So we've bridged the gap now. We've moved from this idea that we have an idea across this chasm that is this valley, and we're working towards, and we've now achieved our goal. We've stepped across it, and we've got our guide, God-inspired inspiration, and our divinely directed dreams have come true. But we did those things. You have to ask yourself that. How much do I want what I say I want? Or you have to say, am I willing to continue to shake off whatever is thrown my way and keep stepping forward? To help us answer those questions with a yes, unequivocally a yes, I want to quote from Ernest Holmes' Science of Mind. He says this: placing our entire trust, our complete faith, our whole conviction in the simple truth that we are rooted in the living Spirit, that we have access to the mind of God and to the love and the power and the peace of the Spirit, we should walk in confidence and speak our spiritual convictions with complete assurance, knowing that there is a presence and a power with us and for us and operating through us, a presence and power that knows no defeat. Knowing this, my friends, that's how we get across that chasm. That's how we move from the idea of having the goal, that God-inspired direction, to having it culminate into a reality for our lives. That's how we get to the other side. That's how we actually reach the point that we get to become all that we were put here to be. So God bless you. That's it for the day. Hang on a second, guys. Hang on a second. So what the board and I talked a couple of board meetings ago that we should try to do one Sunday a month of just opening it up to conversation. And I said at that meeting, well, you know what? I'll take the last Sunday of every month and we'll answer some questions. Today is that Sunday. So we're open forum. Does anybody have anything they want to talk about? Dang. I guess. Nobody has anything? Wow. Well, last time I did that, we had a number of questions. Yes, sir.
I just have a quick question on how in some of the teachings of unity or signs of mind, how can you put those into action in your life when you're actually going through hard times? Because it's really easy to set and done when things are hunky-dory, but how do you reprogram that mind frame of when you're going through hard times? How do you put that into action?
I think that you have a resource and you find that resource ahead of time. And I'm not sure for you what that will be, but I can tell you one day this week, I had a little challenge in my life. And what I did is I went and I listened to one of the tapes from the service because I needed to hear. Remember when I did pronoia? Okay, so I went back and I played it again in my car driving down the road. I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. I forgot I said all that. That's true. And it changed, you know? So I think one of the advantages of having all of this on camera and on tape is you can go to it and you can use it. Other people have different ways. Obviously, meditation works very, very well. Just set it all aside. It's hard sometimes to center oneself when something's going on that seems overwhelming. So I would say get into a practice, whatever that is. I've told you that I use this, and I think for me that works really well. So whatever you develop, I think it's important that you get in the routine of doing that. But we all do that, Ben. We all go through those times. It's like, oh my gosh, you know. And that's when it's easy to forget. So I would say get your resources lined up first. Line up your resources when everything's hunky-dory, so that you have them when things aren't so hunky-dory. Anybody add anything to that? Any other questions? Dang. Oh, there we go.
Your answer to this might be the same as the last answer, but we keep talking about the gap to the dream.
Mm-hmm.
What it is you want. The action of doing so much in our lives. How do you get that clarity sometimes to figure out what it is that you want?
And you know what's frustrating is when you have that nagging little truth that I'm not doing what I'm supposed to be doing, and it's like, but what am I supposed to be doing? And that's difficult, you know. And I think that's the question. Am I answering? Okay. I would say that the answer to that is just setting aside the time to meditate. Just turn away all the distraction and sit down and just meditate. And don't be anxious about it. I think that's another thing we do. We get so anxious about, I need an answer and I need it now, and it doesn't work real well to demand of the universe immediate answers, you know. But I think it's an unfolding of answers. The other thing I think that gets in our way a lot of times is that we get part of an answer and our response to that will be, oh, well, that's stupid, or that'll never work, or I can't believe I just thought that. And some of those kinds of thinkings get in the way of us finally realizing. Lots of times, where we're supposed to go next seems kind of like, really? We have to set that aside. So I think many of us have had that experience too, where, it's time to go. And because it's absolute. It's absolute, and there is no doubt. I knew that I was leaving here last June when I drove home from Colorado, and I was driving through the Rockies, and there was no doubt. And I've known that and believed that, and then the question was to go to Spirit and say, how do I leave? How do I leave so I don't leave the church in the lurch? Because I've made so many friends here, how do I do that? And that answer finally came the way we did it, which was to do it the day of the congregational meeting and ask Joe Sloan to be here to back that up and deal with it in that meeting and on and on. But once you know, and you get over that, well, that'll never work. There was a point in time I would have thought I'd be here till the day I dropped dead. And so it was kind of like, really? I don't know. Which is kind of how I got here to start with, like, oh, no, really? I don't want to do that. So, yeah. When you know, it's time to do it. Yeah. Carrie, let me interrupt you. I don't know if everybody knows you. So why don't you just take a time and tell us a little bit about you and your background and you're like, up front? Oh, we can't hear you, so come up, use the mic, will you? Because Carrie's a pretty interesting character.
I am.
And she's a PhD kind of person, doing some really interesting research, too.
Yeah.
Yeah, so talk about that a little bit.
Okay.
Not to put you on the spot.
I didn't mean to do all this.
Okay, first of all, Carrie, where did you find unity?
In Hawaii.
In Hawaii. And what did you do in Hawaii as you studied unity?
What did I do? Oh, I was doing research, and I do research in, how we talk about in unity that we shape our reality, we create our reality. I do research on how we collectively, where we're at, what we're focusing on, using internet trends, and seeing how that creates reality in the news, in the stock market, and other ways. And I've been doing this research over 10 years, and I'm finally getting paid for it because somebody found out about the market part, and they were like, oh, you can see what's happening in the market a few days later based on what Google Trends is doing. And I said, yeah, and so I'm finally getting paid for it.
So is that what your doctorate was? Is that what you...
Psychology.
But I know it's in psychology, but what was your thesis?
Oh, my thesis was on treatment of multiple personality disorder.
And we don't have that problem here, so yeah. Okay. So your research now is on how the collective consciousness, as portrayed on Google or social media, drives the reality of the world, be it the stock market or
the news,
or whatever. Okay. And you are studied to become a licensed Unity teacher, and you are at what point?
I am. I need to teach one more class, and I need to take 2 more 1-week
sessions.
Yes.
Yeah. So she's very close. Okay. So anyhow, I don't know if you all knew Carrie, but I wanted you to meet her because she's a pretty fascinating lady.
Okay. So the original thing I was going to
before I interrupted. Okay, go ahead.
But thank you. The original thing I was going to say was, as far as when you're going through rough times, there's been this 1.5 year issue between myself and my daughter that has been just the biggest obstacle I think and the oddest one, most resilient one I've ever had to deal with. And what I initially did was I was working on how do I solve this problem? How do I solve this problem? This is horrible. It's the worst thing ever. and it was intractable, and it wasn't budging. And I could see how, because of me not being able to be around my grandchildren and my daughter, that I had time to do other things that I needed to do, such as like completing the research that got me to finally getting paid and all of that. So I've had to go back to some basic learnings. I guess that's the resources. One is see it right to set it right. So you don't work on the thing, you have to see it right, and it will
Which is our lesson from
reach
last
its
week.
own resolution.
The problem's not the problem.
The problem's not the problem. The other thing is learning not to call it a problem. Because as long as it's a problem, it's going to be a problem. And that's tough, because I keep going back to, but I want to be visiting my grandkids. I want to be relating with my daughter. So that's a problem, but that's not going to fix it. So I have to go back to, it's exactly how it should be. I don't understand it. I don't maybe like it. It's not my preference, but somehow it's exactly how it needs to be. And somehow it's going to all work out in the highest and best possible way for myself, for my grandkids, for everyone. And so I had to go back. I have to keep going back to that every time I get hit with a new, God, I miss them, Okay, yes, I miss them, but this is exactly how it needs to be. And so I go back and forth, a little bit of grief and then peace. And I have to keep touching that place over and over, remembering. And I've gone through this with other things, and it's turned out okay, but never something this big. So I guess this is my big test, and I sure wish we can get the exam completed and
And move on. Thank you, Carrie. Appreciate that. So JJ was standing back there barking at me or you or somebody. Anybody else got anything? Yes, sir.
When Ben was mentioning his challenges, that when I've had challenges in my life the last few years, unity was always a grounding force. I think that's what he's saying. We come here each week, we feel so much better, but how do we take that to the rest of the week? And I think the thing that helped me was kind of getting away from, just as she said, the problem, which in my parents helped me reassess that as a challenge, not a problem. What is it? What's the challenge? And that the challenge is not to make it a challenge anymore, and to kind of get out of your own head. In other words, what I mean by that is that don't focus on that so much. Go out and give, volunteer. Go get your body doing what you know is good for you. Go exercise. Do something that's just good for you and good for others. And as you do that, this sort of mellows out a little bit, because once we get back into that, those things you said, it's not a cycle. So we're doing that and do something else.
Good advice. Yes, ma'am.
Just real quick, it goes back for me, what you focus on, you get more of, and if you're focusing on the problem, that's what you see more of. And along with that is see the best and put positive intent on it. So if there may be a break in the relationship, it's they're doing whatever they need to be doing right now for their growth. And the hardest part is acknowledging that it will come to be, but not on my timeline.
Yeah. That's the hard part. Leah.
I was just going to share that when this kind of situation has occurred in my life, usually my ego, my mind is saying, follow this path, do this, do whatever, and there's always conflict. So what I've learned to do is, first of all, pray on it. And secondly, most importantly, I just sort of throw it up to the universe and say, what's the lesson I'm supposed to learn? And generally, when I ask that question, I get an immediate answer, and that answer clarifies it.
Good. Anything else? Yes. Your kids are lucky that you two are their parents. That's a fact. That's a fact. So you know what? How many people are watching us today? Because it just dawned on me, we have people watching us, they can't hear a word that you're saying. So the next time we do this, we need to pass a mic so that people at home get the benefit of your comment. 4 people that are live watching live. Hello, people out there watching live. Okay, so let's move on now. Let's go with you.
There was a time in my life I thought I'd have to do it all for myself. Didn't know the grace of God was sufficient. Didn't know the love of God was at hand. But now I can say, if you are discouraged, struggling just to make it through another day, you've got to let it go, let it all go. And this is what you've got to say. I release and I let go. I let the Spirit run my life. And my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. I release and I let go. I let the Spirit run my life. And my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God.
Thank you, Margaret. Perfect. Yep, perfect for today. Absolutely. So it's now the time in our service that we share of our gifts and offerings. And in preparation for that, I invite you to join together as we say our offering statement. Together, divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. And now let's sing a song.
My gift goes forth on the wings of love, and it lands where it may heal and bless. It returns to me, multiplied 1,000-fold, as the universe says yes, yes, as the universe says yes. My gift goes forth on the wings of love, and it lands where it can heal and bless. It returns to me, multiplied 1,000-fold, as the universe says yes, yes, as the universe says yes. My gift goes forth on the wings of love, and it lands where it
can heal and bless, it returns to me, multiplied 1,000-fold, as the universe says yes, yes, as the universe says yes. Let's pray. Mother, Father, God, divine love, thank you for this place where we can come together as family, where we can learn and grow and expand our consciousness. Thank you for this time of giving, that we focus on our blessings. It's our commitment that these gifts will be used in a way that reflects and blesses the unity movement. And so it is. Amen. Okay, let's stand up and close by saying together our prayer of protection. She's our new treasurer. Okay. Are you ready? Together, the light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. Let's circle it up. And her ears bugging her? Really? We're going to make it. Yes, it's going to work. Stretch out.
Did someone go?
Do we have the kids in here? Can somebody grab the kids? So wait a minute. We don't have kids. We need kids. We need kids. We need kids. We need kids. Once the kids get in it, it works. Yes. She's like, did you guys give what you should have given? They must have been doing something really, really, really important. All right, we are ready.
Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, a peace that was meant to be. With God as creator, family all are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my joyous vow. To take each moment and live each moment, peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me.
Leah, I want to fix your tag.